Hey everybody, Pearse Redmond here for BoilingFrogsPost.com, and you are currently watching the preview clip for the latest BFP Roundtable. On this episode, Tom Secker and I were joined by our friend Matthew Alford. Matthew is a professor at the University of Bristol and the University of Bath, and his work focuses primarily on the relationship between the DOD, the CIA, and Hollywood. So on this episode, we went into a great amount of detail regarding the DOD's relationship with Hollywood. In particular, we discussed a recent FOIA request that Matt and Tom filed with the Department of Defense, which yielded a massive amount of documents detailing and chronicling the DOD's current relationship with Hollywood. So in the episode, we discussed some of the specifics of these documents, as well as many other things. But here's a quick little preview of some of the stuff that we discussed, in particular, the DOD's ever-increasing relationship with television.
The CIA are probably still a bit ahead of the DOD on that score, but you'd expect them to be. They are an intelligence agency. But nonetheless, these documents, if you compare the ones that we got under FOIA to the ones that were previously available from about 10 years ago now, you can see the DOD has become more sophisticated. This thing hasn't just grown in scale, it's grown in sophistication as well. That's for me, the really scary thing, is that, they've got presumably psychological warfare experts working on reality TV shows.
Right. Again, what are the implications of all of that? Sort of talking about the, how hip the DOD is right now, or trying to become. And something that, again, that's very interesting is, and you can see because these documents go back a few years. So, there's some from 2011, or no, I believe it was 2010. And at the bottom of, included in the documents is this whole thing. Oh, well, we've got X amount of Facebook likes, this amount of this. And of course that goes up. I think first in one of the first batches, it's like, oh, they only have 700 Facebook likes. Then you look in the next set, and this is 2011 to 2012, and suddenly they've got over 1,000 Facebook likes. They're talking about, oh, well, we had this many, pictures, this many likes, this many mentions, blah, 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 this and that. Again, interesting, but furthermore, in these documents is the DOD's participation in a Facebook documentary, which comes out of nowhere. It seems to have no purpose. I mean, I read through the document again, or that section recently, and it seems like it was a documentary about working at Facebook, but Facebook contacted the military for God only knows why, so that they could send some Army representative to Palo Alto again, God only knows what they were talking about. So, I mean, this is really, again, this is beyond the scope of, oh, yeah, they provided all of the tanks and aircraft carriers for Transformers 8, whichever, you know what I mean? This is much, much deeper. I don't know, Matt, anything that kind of struck you about either the Facebook thing or about, again, this sort of hip pop culture aspect that the DOD seems to slowly be kind of getting into?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the list that I've made of the main shows, Army Wives, Undercover Boss, MasterChef, Cake Boss, Hawaii Five-0, which was also a CIA one, I believe, that you've touched on before, American Idol, Dog First Aid, Grey's Anatomy, and Cupcake Wars. So, yeah, I mean, I think they are definitely, as Tom says, I think encouraging a kind of dumbing down of society, dumbing down of media culture. And I mean, a lot of these sort of come across, they sound military in the way that they're the kind of thing that if scouts ruled the world, this is what they'd put on TV. Cake Boss and Army Wives and cupcake things. It sounds like a sort of really bland kind of cheesy jamboree or something going on in the sort of military mindset, and I think that's because it's safe. It's it's vaguely competition, it's vaguely sort of military, and it's just safe. But I mean, as you know, you live in the States, Pearse. I mean, you know what American TV is like anyway. I mean, it's whether the DOD is actually having a decisive effect on the actual quality of network television, I don't know, but it's certainly not helping.
Now, we also discussed the importance of doing research like this, and this is something that I think can't be stressed enough, that this is indeed important research to be doing, and this isn't something that we should just gloss over or just dismiss as propaganda and nothing more. I mean, Matt, why is this research important? Because I think that it goes beyond just propaganda and almost into something else, where I said at the beginning, they're creating their own genre of television that is, and I sort of, preparing for this was sort of thinking, what is kind of coming first here? Is Hollywood making all these films because the military is sort of pushing them? Or is the military just sort of there and Hollywood is creating all of this stuff knowing that they're going to get assistance? So again, Matt, why is this research important to be actually doing?
Well, I think if you're saying that that people get bored or glaze over at propaganda, then maybe we're not doing our job properly, because that is, I think, one of the main things that needs to be recognised in society if we want to have properly democratic societies. If I'm in my work banging on a drum fruitlessly for that, then I'm sorry, but I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm going to try and do it in as entertaining a way as I can. And that's one of the reasons that I think it is important to try and get that into mainstream press. I don't know if you can see the article that we got here, which came up in the Mirror, called Iron Ban. And that should, of course, have mentioned Tom's name on it, but sometimes these things don't translate through to the press. So, I mean, for me, it is propaganda could be an okay thing in society, in the sense that if we lived in a fair society and a decent society, in that there wasn't wars going on everywhere, then you could just say, well, it's just a bit of PR here and there. And there's a few films that get a little bit of assistance here and there, and that's fine. I wouldn't want to, hype up the, oh no, it's the military, let's oppose it just because they know how to punch things. That's not it. The problem is that this is systematic and vast politicized propaganda that has gone on for a very long time, and then beyond that, they will not say what changes they make to any of these products. And then even further to that, they pretend that they are being open about the relationship that they have, but in fact they are covering it up, and then they prevent anybody from getting access to any of the documentation that says anything about the politicized changes. Now that is layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of deception, lies, and trickery, and half-truths, and I don't think that we should tolerate it in our society. We're meant to be living in a democracy, even if no one does take that seriously. I think we should act as if we do live in a democracy, and then people will have to take some attention to that, so that we can move forward to a better mediated society.
Now, if you would like to watch or listen to the full episode, then please go to boilingfrogspost.com and become a subscriber today. Of course, Boiling Frogs Post can't exist without you, the irate minority. We don't take any money from foundations, corporations, any kind of advertising or things like that. We solely work on donations, so please do become a subscriber today if you are not already one. And once again, I've been Pearse Redmond, and I hope that you all do become subscribers and join the conversation over at boilingfrogspost.com.